A Recreational Drug Activist Politics Guide. Chapter 1. Drug Politics. J. Edgar Hoover created drug laws. If anybody follows history, you know that back in the day, people left drug users alone. They weren't a part of mainstream society. As long as they minded their own business, everybody else went along doing their business, leaving them alone until 1937 when J. Edgar Hoover and a few others decided to get these drug users. The truth is that a lot of early drug users were wealthy people who could afford the cough syrup with heroin in it and the other drugs they used, like the opium they got at Chinese-run stores. From a sociological point of view, for the first time in the modern era, industrialization created wealthy people who were bored with life, looking for a thrill. They were the first modern-day drug addicts. Nobody knew about it because they did their drugs at home away from public view. Drug laws were originally started as a way to arrest poor people, Hispanics, blacks, beatniks, hippies, flappers, and other minorities, to deport them as undesirables and otherwise hassle them. Then the United States government strong-armed the rest of the world to make drugs illegal. There are very few drugged-out, wacko junkies on the streets. Most recreational drug users are middle to upper class people who work regular jobs and run their own businesses. They're the people with the money, not the homeless people on the streets. They catch a buzz here and there, then go back to work, so what? It's their business, not the government's business to try to control them. We can't stop what people do freely as long as they don't bother anyone else, nor should we try, because as the self-proclaimed free countries we are, people should have those rights inherently by the definition of freedom, but we don't. The problem is that the government is acting like a big brother, presuming they know what's good for the people, which is wrong according to any definition of freedom anywhere. This is why we're not really free. If you legislate morality, you end up fighting battles you can't win. You can't stop people from doing what they want to do for their own pleasure, either alone or with other consenting adults. People will do drugs to get high and exchange sexual services for money, no matter what the laws are. On a Friday and Saturday night anywhere, loads of respectable, working people head to the bars to get high and forget the drudgery of their ordinary lives. I was a nightclub worker many years ago. Nothing has changed since the early 1980s. There is a kind of desperation to get high on a Friday and Saturday night that a certain element of the population engages in that booze can't fulfill. I've seen all the drug deals. As a bar worker, people used to approach me all the time looking to buy drugs. This will never stop. It's wired into people. People get bored of their video games, romance novels, vibrators, and TVs. They want to get really high, not the kind of high booze gives you, a higher, more intense high. It's a release valve for lots of working people who work average jobs as opposed to inspirational jobs. They need to unwind. They want to get high. I don't care as long as they don't drive a car and do stupid things in my face while high. In a free country, if an individual is not disturbing the public peace, is not bothering anyone, or is not driving a motor vehicle impaired, it's his or her right to do anything he or she wants. That's the only true standard of freedom. If the government tells people they can't do drugs, it's not a free country. If we, the people, allow the government to tell us we can't get high on drugs if we want, we are a bunch of brainwashed wimps who let the government control us. I originally thought everybody in my generation was cool because we were brought up in the hippie drug era, but I still meet people my age who think drugs are the scourge of society. People get so brainwashed by propaganda. By imposing such a law for our own protection, as the police like to say, you are implying that people are too stupid to do the right thing for themselves by themselves. 120 years ago, they thought the world would go to hell if they gave blacks the vote. 100 years ago they thought the world would go to hell if they gave women the vote. Some Americans thought the world go to hell when they ended prohibition. In the 1930s, they attacked the emerging movie industry as the beginning of the degradation of society. In the 50s, it was rock and roll and Elvis's hips. 50 years ago, they thought the world would go to hell if they legalized birth control pills. Then they attacked the adult entertainment industry. 20 years ago they thought the world would go to hell if they gave gay people equal rights and the right to marry. In all of these cases, the sky didn't cave in. The sun came up the next day and life went on the same as before. The people that do these things usually do them in peace and the rest of society never deals with it. It's like a gay couple that lives near me. Life goes on as if it doesn't matter which is the case. It will be the same with the legalization of recreational drugs. They will be legalized and nothing will change. Life will go on as usual. There will be no great anarchy of debauchery on the streets simply because people use drugs to get high regardless of their legal status. The idea that getting stoned is evil is a myth created by right-wingers who want to scare you. If you act like a stoned or drunken fool or drive drunk or high, you will be arrested, but other than that, if you sit at home, in your backyard or in a head shop getting high, that's your business, nobody else's. It's the lies of the self-righteous right-wingers with their own agendas that puts out false propaganda and creates fear among the people who don't really know the truth about the recreational substance issue. The truth is that keeping drugs illegal is good business for right-wing conservative politicians as an easy issue to pretend to be fighting evil. It's good for law enforcement, the courts and the jails, who all get a lot of money to fight the so-called drug war and protect the good citizens from the supposedly bad ones who use this stuff. But what they're really doing is protecting their careers and budgets, because without a phony drug war, our prisons will be half empty, many law enforcement people will have no evil menace lurking in the shadows to fight, and the courts will have 50% less cases to deal with right off the top. People use the argument that people on drugs commit crimes in order to finance their drug habits. This is propaganda put out by the anti-drug side to make it seem like there are lots of desperate addicts lurking in the streets, and the weak lowlifes of our society play right into this phony stereotype, using drugs as their excuse when they get caught doing something illegal, when the truth is that it was them, the individual, who committed the crime, not some drug that made them do it. With our jails half empty when drugs are legalized, we'll raise the mandatory sentences on real crimes. The best thing the government can do is to collect tax money from recreational drugs while supporting the recreational drug industry that creates jobs for law-abiding citizens as opposed to criminals. If people commit crimes to get money for drugs, we'll throw them in jail for long stretches of time, thus sending the message, don't do it. Drug activism websites: thoughtco.com/crime-and-punishment-413292 420-now.blogspot.com allftindependent.blogspot.com blamethedrugwar.blogspot.com blatherwatch.blogs.com blog.aclu.org blog.drugpolicy.org blog.leap.cc bornelliveloved.com briancbennett.com cannabisculture.com cannabismd.org cannabiswarrior.com cannablog.wordpress.com cannacare.org cannacare.org/bulletin cipcol.org kulaqua.blogs.com cpop.org csdp.org Common Sense for Drug Policy cures-not-wars.org cures-not-wars.org Drug Activists deregeneration.blogspot.com dea.gov/concern/drug_trafficking.html dneiword.blogspot.com dominichholden.com dosenation.com dpf.org drcnet.org drcnet.org The Drug Reform Coordination Network drogaandpolitik.org, translated from German druglaw.typepad.com/drug_law_blog drugliberalization.bravehost.com drugpolicy.org drugpolicy.org/library drugpolypsychosis.com drugpolypsychosis.com/blog drugznse.org drugwar.com drugwarfacts.org drugwarrant.net/vigil arrowwood.org evergreenpolitics.com/ep eupolitics.com FAMM.org, Families Against Mandatory Minimums. FlexiHourRights.org. ForWashington.net. FreedomActivist.net/CannabisResearch.html. GavinShearer.com/weblog. JusticeAndDrugs.blogspot.com. Leap.cc, Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. Leap.cc. LindaSmith.org. MappyNC.org, Media Awareness Project. MappyNC.org. MappyNC.org/drug news. MichelleAney.com, Marijuana Activist. MPP.org, Marijuana Policy Project. MPP.org. Narconews.com. Narconews.com. NarcosPhere.narconews.com. NDCI.org, National Drug Court Institute. Normel.org, Reform of Marijuana Laws. Normel.org. November.org. November.org, The November Coalition. The Voice of America's Prisoners of the Drug War. November.org. pitt.edu/Soriano/drug, drugs and society. reformnetwork.org. repeal.net. safeatchessnow.org. saferchoice.org. senlesscouncil.net. soundpolitics.org. stash.normel.org. stoppedhedrugwar.org. stoppedhedrugwar.org/speakeasy. superspade.blogspot.com. theleftshoe.blogspot.com. themoderatewashingtonian.blogspot.com. transform-drugs.blogspot.com/index.html. usmjparty.blogspot.com. vernoncoleman.com/downloads/drugsmith.htm. vicesquad.blogspot.com. virtualp.us/blog. hwackynation.com. whitehouse-drugpolicy.gov. whitehouse-drugpolicy.gov/publications/facts/ht. willapaview.blogspot.com. windypundit.com. Normel. 1001 Connecticut Avenue. NW. Number 1010. Washington, D.C. 20036. Normel.org. Recreational drug websites, pro and con. abwf-ct.org. aclu.org/drug policy. adca.org.au. addictinthefamily.org. addictionresourceguide.com. adrugwarcarol.com. advocate4justice.org. ahrn.net. aivl.org.au. ambitiousaddict.com. americandrugwar.com. ancd.org.au. angelfire.com/realm2/Duncanian_theory. antiquecannabisbook.com. briancbennett.com. cadca.org. canadianharmreduction.com. cannabis.net. cannabislink.ca. carbc.uvic.ca. ccsA.ca. ccsdp.org. cedro-uva.org. cfdp.ca. changetheclimate.org. cjpf.org. cjpf.org. clubdrugs.org. crystalmethbc.ca. csdp.org. cssdp.org. dare-america.com. dea.gov. dfaf.org. dogwoodcenter.org. dorothygaines.org. dpeg.org. dpffl.org. dpfhi.org. dpfmi.org. dpfnd.org. dpfoc.org. dpfpa.org. dpft.org. dpfts.org. dpnoc.ca. droppedherock.org. drugactionnetwork.com. drugcrazy.com. drugfreeamerica.org, drugfreeworkplace.org, druglibrary.net, druglibrary.net, drugnews.org, drugpolicy.org, drugpolicycentral.com, drugscience.org, drugscope.org.uk, drugznse.org, drugstrategies.org, drugtruth.net, drugwar.com, drugwardistortions.org, drugwarfacts.org, drugwarprisoners.org, drugwarrant.com, drugwatch.org, duelaw.org, edi.gn.apc.org, efficacy-online.org, efsdp.org, efsdp.org, mdef.org, encod.org, arrowid.org/index.html, fas.org/drugs, ffdlr.org.au, freedomtoexhale.com, freevibe.com, geopium.org, gsdlnorml.org, hamsnetwork.org, harmreduction.org, hightimes.com, hr95.org, huffingtonpost.com/tag/recreational-marijuana, ideas-canada.ca, idmu.co.uk, idpi.us, infocollective.org, infocollective.org/wrndrugs.html, enzymesensa.org, journeyforjustice.org, kcbia.org/script content/kcbia/druglaw/index.cfm, kunstler.org, leap.cc, madcowprod.com, mamas.org, managingpain.org, mapnc.org, marihemp.com, marijuanaconversation.org, maximizingharm.com, mediacampaign.org, medicalassistedtreatment.com, medicalassistedtreatment.org, medicalassistedtreatment.org, mercycenters.org, mfiles.org, mjlegal.org, montanadrugpolicy.org, notepc.org, nadelmanandfordrugsr.com, naphp.org, napnt.org, narconon.ca/blog/tag/recreational-drug, narcoterror.org, nascent.org, nationalfamilies.org, ndsn.org, newagecitizen.com, nita.nih.gov, nojailforpot.com, normel.net, normel.org.nz, nzdf.org.nz, augsproject.org/05/recreational-drug-use, oncp.com, openthcheck-in.org, painreliefnetwork.org, parentsendingprohibition.org, pdpi.org, filinorml.org, planetarypride.com, prdi.org, pride.org, rainbowfarmcamp.com, raiseourvoice.com, rand.org/centers/dprc, rand.org/multi/dprc, reconsider.org, recoveryscentiles.com, recreationaldrugs.startbwijs.nl, reneeboa.com, solace.org, samhsa.gov, sarnia.com/groups/antidrug, senatoreport.ca, sendtherightmessage.com, skateforjustice.org, ssdp.org, stopthedrugwar.org, talkaboutdrugsnetwork.com, tdpf.org.uk, temple.edu/lawschool/AIDS-policy, tfy.drugznse.org, thedrugflaws.com, therazorwire.org, thevix.com, trebic.org, urban75.com/drugs/index.html usersvoice.org.uk uudpr.org vandu.org vetsforms.org whitehousedrugpolicy.gov 1pr.org